All right, y'all, so I'm finally getting around to doing some canopy work. I kind of already started. I should have filmed beforehand, but I'll film now just to show y'all what's up. So if you can see, it's kind of hard to show. Wow, look at all this mushroom activity. That's insane. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. So maybe you can see it here. See how everything's sort of, man, I wish I would have filmed. So a lot of these trees were leaning that way. That's the western sun over there. And that's the telltale sign that your system needs managing. Whenever you have trees sort of leaning over to one side, trying to catch sunlight, it's obvious that there needs to be more sunlight trickling into the system. And so that's what the canopy work does. Obviously, in the last videos, managing bananas does a big number on that for sure, because of how broad the leaves are and how much shade they cast. But doing canopy work really relieves that as well, and it relieves the trees from the stress of leaning over as well. So when I see how I pruned this mulberry back, and mulberries are notorious for having floppy leaves. It was leaning hard over here, and it had big floppy leaves trying to like get that sun from the west side. This China berry as well had a nice big canopy on it, and I trimmed that back with the pole bypass pruners. Really good investment as well. It kind of just it's a good in-between tool. This one really nice. Sometimes some of these trees are a little too young to be putting up a ladder against it. I mean, this one I think is pretty good at this point, but sometimes some trees are a little bit, less sturdy, and you don't want to be messing around with the ladder quite yet. So that pole, the bypass pruner on the pole, makes it easy. So yeah, same with this corymbia you see up there. It had a nice little canopy on it. So now these trees could send out new growth up there and not be interfering with sunlight getting into these lower trees, and like the target trees. This is a canistel. And this is another target tree of mine, which is right here, silky oak, Grevillea robusta. Yeah, it'll give sunlight to the target trees, as well as providing biomass, as well as just opening up sunlight and letting airflow in. So yeah, and then the next one, as you can see, this whole tree row is a little bit congested. This interlobium, this guanacaste right here, kind of has branches going all over the place, so it can get trimmed down. These albizzias are kind of in the way, in my face, so these can get taken out. You see that? And here's the mango. So that's a little bit of what I mean when I say I'm doing canopy work. Like this Sterculia foetida could like get all these leaves, lower leaves, chopped back. There's a lot of redundant Royal Poincianas. I'll show you an example. Here's a Royal Poinciana right here. That was leaning really hard. It was leaning super hard. You can kind of see it. Man, I wish I would have filmed. But this was leaning super hard, just because it was a whole bunch of craziness going on here. This the corymbia was up there, the banana was up there, hogging up space. That other Royal Poinciana is up there too. So yeah, that other Poinciana was up there too. So I decided to keep that one because that one was much healthier, much straighter compared to that one. So this one could be sacrificed. Not even sacrificed. I'm just gonna cut it to like right here, so it'll resprout again, and just keep providing the endless biomass and growth hormones. So even though, that's the beauty of agroforestry, even though a tree gets selected out, it can still hang around for a few months to a few years. And each time you cut it, this thing gets thicker and thicker, and then you can use this for firewood or for whatever you need pole wood for. It was going to be a sacrificial lamb anyways. You might as well utilize it to its utmost potential. Okay, so see, that's another good example. You see that corymbia, how it leans like that. They're notorious for leaning hard too, especially when you prune them up like that. So those are just signs. Same with this. Whenever these nitrogen fixing type trees start to curve their branches, that's a good sign to nip them back. So I I just want to do a little bit of a pre-video. Like I said, redundant royal poincianas, this one can go. Look at that, you see that difference? You have a beautiful massive China berry to the right, a beautiful Corymbia poking up to the left, and then this odd one in the middle. So then this one could leave, and then boom, you have just a clear canopy space up there. Obviously the native slash pine is already occupying it up there, so this is a redundant tree right here. Same with this one here. This, look, you can kind of already see. So that's what I mean when I say canopy work. Here's another good example. You know, here's a redundant royal poinciana because it's much better wood here for the Corymbia, so I opt for the Corymbia. And then here's another perfect example right here. Look, everything's, this one's not leaning as hard, but even this Glivicidius wants to go that way. But yeah, you can see how low I can touch the Corymbia leaves. That's not ideal. You don't want your emergent tree leaves, you don't want to be able to touch them like this. You want them to be higher up. So I'm gonna mainly focus on this west side because this is where it needs it most. And yeah, I'll show the difference because, oh wow, look at that beautiful mosaic of a canopy right there. So yeah, we're gonna clear that back a little bit so you can see the difference. All right, so here's that lean I was talking about. See this mulberry? Literally over into the neighbor's property right there. So mulberry is definitely known for those droopy leaves. Look at this Albizia lebec, same thing. Trying to reach that sunlight. You know, we have a house here, so that's like an obstruction. Imagine that was like a little hill or something. Blocks the western sun kind of towards the end of the day. Not hugely. It's honestly not that big of an obstruction, but anyways, yeah, so you can see. And then more than anything, to the east of it, there's a whole system's worth of obstruction of light. So that's why some of these trees, these earlier succession trees, they lean like that. And that's a good sign. That means you're going forward in succession. It's not inherently a bad thing. It's just, it's just saying, hey, these early succession trees are probably not going to be able to cut it anymore. And then, you know, the more dominant, the more trees that I personally wanted to establish themselves, like this royal poinciana and stuff like that, and the Corymbias, those are going to be the trees now. Not the Albizzias anymore, not the mulberries anymore. But like I said before, you can still prune them back and use them effectively. I can, you know, prune this back and go plant these mulberries somewhere else. Beautiful cuttings right there if I prune it. And then of course with that Albizia, I could just prune it back, leave it looking like this, and it'll just keep growing, trying to find that sunlight always, but I just keep using it. I've, like I said before in other videos, had the perch for the birds and the dragonflies and the lizards and stuff. You can see one right there. The lizards like using it to get high ground and for hunting purposes. Doesn't want to focus that well, but you see it. So yeah, I really love leaving these trees like that for the wildlife. But so far, I might as well show you what's been going on. You can see a lot of lifting up of the canopies, and you know, not every cut is good. That one ripped. I might even come back and just chop it here. It'll come back really, really nicely. So if you sort of mess up on a cut up there like that, or you see that it's kind of close to the fence and maybe you don't want it to be crashing down on anybody's fence anytime soon, you can give these trees a nice lop right here, and it'll send up a really nice one again. And like I said, it'll thicken up the base so you can actually use it for whatever you need, for firewood, for tool handles, for biomass, logs, for new areas or something, whatever. So there's infinite possibilities in terms of management. But yeah, that's kind of the deal. A lot of these trees have been lifted up, so the canopies are going up. And here's an Royal Poinciana that was kind of leaning. It's not really needed. You have the Agroforestry fraxinifolius right there, and then you have the corymbia right there. So don't really need another one in between. You see how those canopies are almost touching each other. Same deal here. Got the corymbia and the slash pine. So this China berry is not needed at all. And neither are any of these albizzias. So this mango could sort of shoot up now. Same deal here. See what happens right here, this Royal Poinciana. I cut it right here because it was leaning probably, and it shot up, and a really nice one. So we'll see how far that will get, because it does have a kind of an opening there. And that's something that you can do to correct that leaningness. Just prune it anywhere, head high. It'll shoot up a nice one, and it'll course correct itself. Sometimes trees lean too much, and a nice pruning just helps it reset. Now these jackfruits have some more sunlight coming in. This corymbia, we got pruned up there, so it'll start branching out up there. It might interfere with the slash pine, so we'll see what I end up doing with this corymbia. This one might be a redundant tree here. Yeah, jackfruit there. This Circulia foetida got its leaves cut, so it raises up a little bit. Let's see, this Guanacaste right here got completely chopped off. So trees are able to straighten up a little bit, and the sunlight's able to infiltrate a little bit more. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, so now I think the only thing that I'm gonna do is, so for the mulberries, I was gonna say, I want the mulberries to end up looking like that. So that's kind of the next thing. It's always nice to stay on top of your mulberries like that. We have some more droopy Guanacastas that could get pruned back. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention this here too. Oh yeah. Just look at the biomass too. Royal Poincianas, sure, they have feathery leaves and they're not too thick, but if you plant a lot of Royal Poincianas and thin them out, then the biomass adds up. That's what I love about agroforestry. It's a lot of little things that add up and add up and add up. And then of course the corymbia biomass is otherworldly. Look at that. Yeah. So, this is the fence here. These trees are getting big. The ideal thing to do is to top them off at some point there. I don't want these to get too big, just because I do not want any issues with trees falling on fences. So that is something that needs to be considered when you plant close to a fence. Know that your trees might not be super huge, tall, majestic trees, because that can present an issue when there's infrastructure around that isn't yours. So same with this Royal Poinciana right here. Beautiful. This thing grew super beautifully. It's already buttressing out really nicely too. You can see super nice buttress roots. But the reality is it is really freaking close. So I might have to top this one off up there somewhere and maintain it as a very, very cut back tree. It might not be the prettiest, but it's still super functional. So like, there's a lot of rain water runoff that comes on down onto my property, and between the biomass here and then nice buttress roots here, there's a lot of erosion control. So even though this tree is in a pretty crappy position in terms of being so close to the fence, it's still extremely functional, and plus the seed was practically free. So it's like, there are really no mistakes in agroforestry. Trees are practical no matter what. So yeah, it's my little ramble. I'm gonna keep going, and see these mulberries. These mulberries can get pruned back as well. Kind of a hybrid between using it for biomass and also wanting to get some mulberries out of it. So yeah, that's about it. You can see a little bit more, especially over here where I did more pruning. You can see much more like open space. Canopies are far apart from each other, and that's the idea. So that's all. All right, y'all, the canopy work is done. It's just a little over 3 hours of work. So it's definitely, you know, definitely some labor, but super worth it. Super worth it. Now you can see with the sun, with the clear morning sunlight popping in. And yeah, very happy with the result. Super glad I was able to get around to doing canopy work before I left to Oregon, because now there's just going to be a lot more airflow, a lot more sunshine. The trees aren't going to be leaning trying to get, you know, that little bits of sun that are peeking in. Now there's a bunch more sun. And yeah, it's late July, right? So this is the time of year, at least for us here in Florida, what I mean to say is the middle of the rainy season. So we're like smack dab in the middle of the rainy season, heading towards the later half, the second half. So I can get away with topping trees, as you know, not having any mercy on any of the support trees. And that's exactly what happened here. I even got some more another banana out to get even more sunshine in. You can see now the canopy, whereas when I first started, the canopies were kind of mixing with each other. There was a lot more of a crazy mosaic. Now it's like a more organized mosaic. Boom, 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 boom. And yeah, wow, a lot of sunshine coming in. Very beautiful to see. Again, no mercy on the redundant support species. Here's the last thing I did that opened up a lot of sunlight. Remember that beautiful royal poinciana that was next to the fence? That thing's completely gone now. Yep, came up here, did some relief cuts first with the pole saw, and then I came here and yeah, decided that this is where I want the height to be. There's already a natural fork here, so I might as well use it to my advantage. And it'll send out shoots from here. I could strip off all the lower shoots, and then the canopy will be right here. Nothing too crazy. I can easily manage the new sprouts, and I'm not risking any low hanging branches to mess with the fence. If I had like 5 acres and no neighbors, then I could have totally let this royal poinciana be its beautiful self. But because I am working on a very limited, narrow space, I kind of have to be a little bit more proactive about things. The last thing I need is issues with neighbors. So yeah, and you can see sort of just the quality of the biomass. Very beautiful stuff here. I've yet to organize these, so you can see just how much I'm talking about here. You know, it's all gonna grow back again in a few months. And so yeah, speaking of the biomass, just so many different kinds of biomass, which is what I love. You know, it's cool with the bananas. They're heavy. They you know, it's an amazing material to work with. But sometimes it gets a little homogenous, just like only banana biomass. I personally like doing the canopy work after the banana biomass, because then I could put all this cool, if there is like existing banana biomass, I can put like all this super varied biomass on top of that. And so those banana trunks down in the bottom could definitely get covered. And yeah, just, I don't know, I really love the variety of biomass. It's really, really cool. Mulberries, of course, super amazing biomass. I love it. Big, thick leaves, tiny, feathery leaves, little in-betweens with the corymbia, just a bunch of different biomass, which I absolutely love. And then this royal poinciana also got topped right here. It was already starting to sort of droop down over, so I wanted to give this Cassia fistula the opportunity to catch that sunlight. So that's the gist of it. Here's some Royal Poinciana biomass that I used back here. I've yet to finish up here. I kind of like using these nitrogen fixing leguminous trees as kind of a topper offer. Kind of feels like helps pump a little nitrogen down in there as well. So yeah, I was even able to get a little bit of banana biomass on this side of the bed here to give a little bit of a barrier from those weeds. But overall, really good result. This is what you want to see when it's, you know, midsummer. We still have at least 2 more months, August and September, hot, humid, rainy months. So nice opened up system is ideal for summer. Even if it weren't good, even if we didn't have another drop of rain from here going forward, and it was just really sunny like this, then it would be okay, because it's been such an amazing rainy season so far. It probably has rained like 4 times the amount it rained last year already. I'm not even exaggerating. Last year was a miserably dry summer. And yeah, I'm very happy. There's a lot of latent moisture in the ground. There's moisture everywhere. And now with all this biomass down on the ground, that moisture is gonna get trapped in. So even if we have a second half of the rainy season that's pretty dry, we've already captured so much of that rain that has already fallen. So yeah, this is just a little bit of a canopy prune, letting in a bunch of sunlight. And yeah, I think this might be my last video before I actually leave to Oregon. So I know it was a bit of a spree of a bunch of videos back to back to back, but I think it might be helpful for people. It was helpful for me when I started, and I would see the Brazilian Agroforestry guys kind of do like step-by-step videos on their decision making and stuff. So yeah, my native mahoganies are able to catch that sunlight. Corymbias are higher up now. All the leaves are higher up. So the sun that comes in from the east is able to penetrate all the way into here. And then the sun that kind of gets blocked by the western fence line and the neighbor's house, and we're able to capture a lot more of it now. So that's the gist. Man, that's it. Nothing much else to say about that. That's a lovely little system right there.